Hey, what's good, everybody? The ambassador here coming to you live from underneath the Six Flags California sign right by the Wendy's. Couldn't be happier because this is the actual first episode that's being filmed in the brand new studio. And to celebrate the event, I had to bring in some awesome special guests, two guests that have been on the radar for a while. And let me introduce them to you now. First, I've got in studio himself, Mr. Allen from Almighty Coasters. What's up?
Oh, it's going great. I'm so happy to be here. We've been talking about this for quite a while. Magic Mountain's my home park, and always run into you, which is great. So now it's awesome being able to do this because I felt like we kept on missing each other.
Right. It's been a long time coming, so I do appreciate you. And yes, you can look right at me. You don't have to look at the camera.
I like to look at the
whole
camera,
round. You can tell them that it's a round table. It's legitimately a round table.
Yeah, it is round. You know, we got the microphones here too, so I'm able to look at the camera, able to look at you, and so.
And that was the whole point, was to make it round so we could look at each other. And then I can't forget, this is also making her debut on the show. Also being the guinea pig for bringing in virtual guests. And if you couldn't tell by the laugh, this is the first time I'm bringing in a virtual guest. So I'm super excited with this new setup. We have got Bri Roll. We got Bri. What's up, Bri?
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. Just like Alan, we've been talking about this for a while, and we finally are able to do it. And I am excited to be here.
That's right. You know, like when she came out for an event to Magic Mountain, I met her for the first time, and I said, "Yeah, I got to get you on this cool podcast I'm starting. I promise." She's like, "Yeah, let me know." It's like 5, 8, 10 months later.
Right.
But no, super excited that you're here. There's a lot, Alan, that's going on in the industry right now, and it feels like there's a lot going on. It seems like a lot of things have been announced. What's the most recent thing that's been announced that has got you excited?
I will say, I'm not sure if it's the most recent thing that's been announced, but I guess I'll say the biggest thing just for SoCal parks is what Universal's really doing.
Yeah.
So they're getting their first major outdoor roller coaster, because all they had was Flight the Hippogriff, and then for the major coaster they had Revenge of the Mummy,
right,
which I like. But for them actually saying, hey, this is what we're doing, and we're building a big coaster, and everybody's speculating Intamin. It hasn't been formally announced yet, but
it could be RMC.
Yeah. So that is really exciting, and it seems like from leaked layouts and everything, I feel like it's kind of flying under the radar since Universal's actually not doing any announcements. But from the speculations from, I think it was, people putting out their own renderings of the plans out, it's really exciting. And I think the layout alone, besides any other tricks the ride might have, looks amazing. So I'm probably most excited about that.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's so exciting for not only Universal's Hollywood, I should say, to get something big, because it's such a big park.
Yes.
But it's like all on a hill, like on a mountain. And so it was like, to me, it was always like natural. It's like, just use that to your advantage. But I'm super extoted. I'm extoted and excited. Bri,
and stoked sees all he has everything.
Yeah, we invent new words over here. But Bri, what's the announcement? And it could be the Universal Studios Hollywood Fast and Furious coaster if you want. But what's been the latest thing that's got you excited?
I like the little things. So my home park, Six Flags America, is retheming their Coyote, whatever it was called, section to Steamtown. We're getting one of those nebulous, wonky rides. We're getting that. I'm not excited about that, but I'm glad that the park is getting something new that's not from Six Flags Great America passed down.
When it's not great anymore.
Right. I am also happy that Mind Eraser is not going anywhere because we don't have an invert. So we're getting new trains. I'm just excited for that section to be rethemed. That's the park I've been going to since it was Wild World, Adventure World, before Six Flags took over. So it's always going to have a piece of my heart, and I'm really looking forward to the progress that comes up and just the growth of that park, because it has so much potential, so much.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's fun to see, those parks that have so much potential finally, have stuff kind of going on for them. And, for me, I think the thing that is most exciting for me is, this is the West Coast stuff because we're West Coast people.
Yes.
But, I'm also excited for here's something that no one's really talking about. A lot of people might be sad about it, but it was just announced that Legoland, California, got rid of two rides, I think. And one was a little storybook land canal or something like that, which incidentally was my son's very, very, very first kind of big ride outside of a carousel, which is kind of sad to see it go. But I'm excited to see something there because I'll tell you the reason why. Was it Legoland Germany that got that B&M wing coaster?
Yes. Yeah, they got that. Was it like a shuttle wing? Or no, just a small wing. It was like the family
it's a
wing.
full circuit. Yeah. Yes. And it's like Legoland's first coaster with the first ride with an inversion. Mm-hmm. You know, it's super cool. And I just think that's cool. You know, speaking of parks with potential, it's cool to see not only B&M do something like that, but it's cool for, you know, stepping up, becoming, you know, enthusiast. And maybe we should get into that too, really quick. Bri, I know that you said you're relatively new to the community, but you've been liking roller coasters forever. Give us your background. Like what sparked it?
So I've been riding coasters since I was 6. Mm-hmm. My first coaster was Scooby-Doo at Kings Dominion, Paramount's Kings Dominion.
There you go.
So that I'm starting off with a 30-foot drop. Either you love it or you don't after that. And I loved it. And ever since then, I remember, because my mom is the one that introduced me to coasters and theme parks and stuff. And she, at 8 years old, she took me to like Disney. I don't remember any coasters that we rode, but just the theme park life. She took me there. Apparently, I've been to Hershey. I thought my first time in Hershey was this year. Apparently, I was in a stroller and I didn't even know it. That kind of got me interested in, you know, theme parks. Not the mic falling.
Oh, she's dropped
microphone
the mic. Down. It's too early to drop the mic, Bri. Too early to drop the mic.
She's dropped the mic already.
Too early. I'll do it at the end. But from there, I just, you know, was always just looking for the next coaster because I'm short. I'm 4'11" at this big age of 33. So, you know, I was looking forward to every ride that I was tall enough to get on. I remember my dad took me to Payless to get some shoes, and I was upset because I'm like, yo, first shoes you want me were Jordans. This is a downgrade to Payless. What's going on? But he took me, got the Payless shoes. They had some height to them, a little platform. And I was able to ride some coasters at Six Flags that I wasn't able to ride before because of that little extra height. And I appreciated it because he didn't get on, but I was able to ride as much as I wanted. So that's where I knew like I loved coasters. But my love, my enthusiasm started last year when long story short, because it's a very long story. I'm a friend. And she was like, well, why don't you take your son to theme parks? I hadn't been to a theme park in over 10 years. My son at the time was 4. And I said, I could take him and, you know, there's stuff for him to do. Great. Turns out I actually went by myself before I took him, just meeting up with some people. And I rode Wild One again, because I rode that a long time ago, just to get, you know, dip my toe in the water.
Yeah, get back into it.
Yeah, just to remember that feeling of what it felt like to be on a coaster. And I did that and I said, okay, I remember what this feels like. I think I'm ready. And then the group was saying, we're going to Superman. I said, oh my God. We're not going to do Joker Jinx. We're not going to do Roar, you know, that Firebird thing. Okay. So we go to Superman, and over the first drop, it literally felt like waking up from a dream. I felt like I did when I was younger and I was riding these rides. And I said, before you even get to that second hill, you know, the first real airtime hill, I said, I never want to lose this feeling again. Never. And from there is when I started like looking up like coaster idiots.
You got the bug.
I was studying, okay? Like I want to immerse myself in whatever this feeling is. I see that there are other people that have it. Yeah. I want to learn as much as I can. So that's the long story short of how it all came about for me.
No, it's a very familiar story. Yes. And I'm not saying it's not unique to you, but it has enough of the same type of elements that I've heard from a lot of people. What about you, Alan? Did that start kind of the same way, or is it completely like a 180?
Well, me, so I'm a SoCal kid, spoiled SoCal kid. Luckily my parents, my family, they always took me to amusement parks. So, I think everything besides pretty much SeaWorld San Diego, I've done in California, and then a lot of my family they are from Texas, so I've done all the Texas parks before too. I think it wasn't until my mom pretty much made me ride a Viper. Because unlike Bri, I'm not vertically challenged, so I was tall enough to to get on everything.
Quick, cut away.
I was quick to get on everything. Well, when I was younger, so it was great. So I think I was able to ride a Viper when I was, I think, 7 or 8.
No way.
Yeah. But that was the only ride that I was afraid of.
Oh, really?
So, and I remember, so back in the day, so my mom gave me $20. She's like, okay, if you want to ride Viper, I'll give you $20. I'll give you $20. So I rode Viper, and after that, I'm like, oh, I can ride anything.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
Yes.
that's a pretty intense coaster. I mean, for those who don't know, it's like one of the last aero multi-loop. Was it 7 inversions?
Yeah, 7 inversions. It was 188 feet. Past 70 miles per hour. So
And that first drop still is very good.
yes, I love Viper. I really, really do love Viper. But I think, my first ride was at Disneyland, Space Mountain, and I said I loved everything at Disney. I loved everything over at Knott's, and I never looked back. But then you get older, you get a job. I was moving around a bit because I'm in the military, and so I've always if there's a theme park near me, I would go and ride it. So I never really went out of my way to go to a theme park until about 2019. So I said, oh, let me go ahead and hop back in. So it started with going to Fright Fest, and Six Flags are doing this crazy membership deal. And I was looking at it, and I was with my son's mom, and it was, okay, hey, we go to Fright Fest for a night, because she really wanted to go to Fright Fest.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, we could go. And I looked at everything, and it's like, okay, we could pay for one night, or I could just go get the Diamond. I got the Diamond Elite Pass, and then pretty much the Diamond Elite Pass for both of us. It was cheaper than just going for a night and paying for parking. So I got us both that. And I remember we were supposed to go on a cruise, and then we decided, it said, hey, do you just want to go to Northern California to go to Discovery Kingdom? So we said, yeah, like, we're not going to go to Mexico. And it kind of it started from there, where I just hopped back in. I'm like, okay, let me go to all these places that I missed and revisit places too.
Yeah, you caught the bug.
Yes.
I mean, it's so interesting, and that really was a good deal back in the day. I remember when I first moved out to Southern California, it was in 2005 is when I moved out here. And I got a Six Flags season pass because it was like buy the day, get the year free.
Yeah,
you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, and that was, I mean, that's such a good deal.
Yeah.
I mean, I lived in Orange County, which is about, it can take 2 hours
Yes.
to drive to get here. But I mean, it was worth it for me. I was like, I come up as much as possible. But yeah, no, that's so cool. I won't bore everybody with the story of my my conversion. It was very similar, but mine started at Lagoon in Utah.
It's a great park.
It is a great park.
Came from there. It's.
Oh, that's right. You were just there, right?
Yes.
All right, we'll get into that. Yeah, but what made me enthusiast, and people will know this who don't know, but maybe Bri doesn't know, but what made me enthusiast, believe it or not, was a roller coaster in Las Vegas, because I moved to Southern Utah when I was in high school, which is only about an hour 45-ish from Las Vegas. And so those were my home parks, were the Vegas coasters. And that was back in the late 90s. So you had, Desperado opened, and you had the Speed the Ride, and then you had
I miss Speed.
Yeah, that was a good one. And then, the Circus and all that stuff. But it was the New York coaster. I know everybody gives me a hard time because everybody hates that coaster.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. Thank you. You've been on that too. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so I talk about it all the time, but the very first time I experienced a dive loop, and that dive loop is pretty good. It almost is like a stall dive loop. And I'd never experienced anything like that before. So when I got off that ride going, that was just such a unique element. I got to look it up. And so that's what took me to the internet. That's what took me to, finding RCDB and like figuring out what the name of that element was. And you know what I mean? It was just like, that's my story. But
wasn't that one the first dive loop in the US too? I think it was.
I don't know the answer to that.
Because
I'm not that kind of enthusiast. There are the enthusiasts that know all the history and the numbers. That ain't me.
Let us know in the comments.
See, Ever the consummate pro, Bri, right there. I love it. I love it. Bri, so how was your experience in Vegas? Because you went there, was it right after Magic Mountain or what?
Yep, right after Magic Mountain. So Magic Mountain was like that Saturday, whatever, in February,
Mhm.
and then that Sunday we went to Vegas, and I rode the 3 coasters there. So El Loco,
Mhm.
Canyon
Blaster.
Canyon Blaster.
Blaster, thank you, and New York, New York. That coaster, I rode those 3. They were fun. Canyon Arrows, they beat me up because of my height. I feel like right here. They hit me right here.
Yeah, those over shoulder restraints.
Oh man, yes. Sebastian doesn't like arrows either.
I'm not gonna hold it against the coaster. I'm gonna hold it against myself for not growing more.
There you go.
I enjoyed it. I like the New York coaster. It was fun. I rode it with my friend April, who lives in, shout out to April. She lives in Vegas.
Hi, April.
Hey, April. Wow.
So, we out here.
Yeah, I mean, and I think all the coasters that are in Vegas that are currently operating are all very good. I think El
Yes.
Loco is like such a sleeper. People don't realize how it's such a good coaster. Canyon Blaster is really, really good. And, I think the Manhattan Express is great. I haven't ridden it with the new Premier trains yet. Have you?
Yeah. I haven't ridden it with the new Premier trains. I rode it with the last gen Premier trains, and then I rode it when it first opened with the Togo trains.
Yeah.
And I mean, I never thought any of them were bad. That's all I have to say. I think I don't know. I think sometimes people, as newer rides come out, I think they hold tracking or different things against these older rides, but I think they make too much of a big deal about it and they make it part of the ride experience. And I know like there's some things, and even Bri said it too. She's like, I don't hold it against the coaster. It's not for me because of my height. But she's saying it doesn't make it a bad coaster.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just realized just now as we were talking, we're like the 3 bears. Like you are tall. Bri is, now this isn't me calling you that. I'm just quoting her, is shorter on the short end.
She is vertically challenged.
I am 11 and a half.
Okay. And I am like so average, it's not funny. But the good thing is so we have the gambit of coasters.
Yeah.
But like, I'm with you. There are some rides where I think I might be just the exact perfect height, like the Goldilocks height for a lot of coasters. Yeah. Comfort collars don't bother me.
Yeah, comfort collars, they don't bother me except for Tigris. Tigris is at Tampa. That's the only one that really bothers me.
Yeah, I didn't have any problem with the Tigris. Oh my gosh.
Bother me. It's more so
getting in and out.
Train set up, getting in and out.
Yeah, that's pretty typical, right?
I'm like, I'm short, but I'm a thickums, so I need some space to get in and out. Hey, it doesn't allow that at all.
I have long legs, and I stumble over it too. So I mean, I think Premier has like some of the worst designed trains getting in and out. Not when you're in there, they're comfortable, but getting in and out. But Ambassador, did you? There was another park in Vegas. It was by the MGM. Did you ever go to that one too? Because I forgot the name of it.
Yeah, I forget the name of it too. It was in the MGM.
Yes.
And I remember that the very first time we went to go there, it was kind of a ripoff because you go walking in the back and it was inside the kind of like a atrium type area. It was completely blocked off. No windows. You could not see anything. There was like a secret door that was all blacked out or whatever. And they're like, you had to pay money.
Yes.
I'm like, well, is there a park map? Can we look at the rides? And like, no.
Yeah.
And it was like at the time, I think it was like, this is going to sound funny. I think it was like maybe 1995.
It sounds about right, because like what you're saying sounds spot on. Because I remember now that I'm older and I know about it, because I remember my mom said something, because she's the one who took me to this park. Yeah. And she's like, it's like a speakeasy. But of course I'm young, I'm 10. I don't know what that is. And now being older, I'm like, and now that you explained it, I'm like, it was like a hidden park, and it's like, yeah, you pay money to come in, and
it was kind of shady, because it was like, and at the time I can try to remember. That's why I wanted to preference the year, because I think at the time it was like $40 or something to get in, and it was like $40. We don't even know what's in there. Do you know what I mean? I know that's doesn't sound like much at the time, but it was just like,
because remember, it took me $20 to get the Viper. I thought I was rich, so
yeah. But then what happened is they then like they kind of like moved it outdoors.
Like it was half and half.
Yeah, and then like they had like a weird like legitimate to the term hybrid coaster where they like kind of like with like Powder Keg where it was like
they extended it.
Yeah, it was like part of it was made by Arrow and then part of it was made by who knows.
Yeah. I do remember that because I remember going back and writing it again because I said being a SoCal kid, my grandma we always used to go to Vegas, and my cousin he was afraid of rides all the time, so I was the one, hey, I'm gonna go, and so that's why I had to wait for my mom to go ride Desperado and everything else too because they wouldn't let me go by myself for good reason. So
Desperado,
I love that ride too.
I loved it. Bri, you only got to look at it, right?
I know, on the internet because I'm never going out there. But
you guys didn't.
They flew.
You didn't. Oh, you. Hi, society.
I know she got it like that. She's like, hi, I'm Bri.
I flew from LA to Vegas. It was on Spirit. Shout out to Spirit.
Hey, that flight's not bad. That flight to we can talk about it later too. I think Spirit gets a bad rap. Like they're not perfect. But
welcome to the Spirit Airlines podcast.
I think brought to you by Spirit Airlines.
Oh man, I think as long as you don't have any connecting flights, Spirit's fine. If you have a connecting flight,
no luggage, you're good.
Yeah, like if
Orlando next month for their Orlando Informer event. For $67 round trip.
Yeah. So if it's a nonstop, like I said, I'll do Spirit all day. Once you throw in those stops in there, I'm like, I'm thinking I'm gonna go and take a different airline.
It will be like, I'll get you there for $100 round trip, but it's a 21-hour situation.
I hope you like sleeping in the airport too. And that, by the way, that's going to cost you money to take it. If you want to sleep in the airport.
Definitely, it's like, oh yeah.
3 feet to the next plane you got to board.
Yes, see, Bri, because that's what happened. Spirit, I remember for Hollywood Nights, I had a connecting flight, and that's what happened. And the next day it was a nonstop, which is the one I should have took in the first place, and then that was Spirit, and it was fine. So as long as it's no connecting flights, Spirit is okay. It's not great, but it's not bad. So you throw in connecting flights, it's kind of, at your own risk.
Spirit Airlines is the old Aero coaster of airlines.
Yes, that's the best way to put it.
It can be good, but it can really hose you.
It's like, oh man,
that's funny. Let's talk about. I think a kind of a good place to go is. And obviously we'll go as far as you'd like, but because I got Bri here virtually, all the way from the East Coast, she and I kind of share. We were talking about this pre-show. If you're a fan of the series Loki, we kind of share the same sacred timeline, but we'd had some divergent branches. So again, I don't want to make you uncomfortable. You stop at any time, but we both kind of come from where we started a channel. And kind of had a movement, had some fun with it. And people that were involved kind of made it go south. What you...
like...
The main reason Alan drove all the way up here.
I was in traffic. It was an accident. I had sad because I already know everything. I just want to hear it again.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, again, obviously, a similar... I mean, you can say vague names or whatever like that, but I think it's important because I think the reason why I bring it up is because, in this community, that term community is so important. And that's what this whole show that I created was about. This is about having all the enthusiasts together, just talking and having a good time. And it just takes, that sour apple sometimes to kind of ruin something. And I applaud Bri. And again, I don't want to put all words in your mouth, but I applaud because, like this is my first show building my new studio, kind of coming back, and Alan had a big part of that. He helped film a lot of the, he filmed basically all of the,
the vignettes,
the vignette stuff. But, you've come back stronger in my opinion. So I just think that's a cool story to tell. How say you, Bri?
I agree with coming back stronger because, if you don't know, I was the, first president of MCN, Melanin Coaster Network. I helped made it what it is today. And I started it, I would say November-ish was when I really joined in to kind of create that community, and make it an official club for people of color who may not see themselves represented in this overall community of coaster enthusiasts. Again, if you think about the timeline, back in August was when I first wrote Superman and got my, like my love of it, my enthusiasm. And
Right.
I actually started my YouTube channel before I even joined the Facebook group that then became MCN. Like, I was doing my content and stuff before I was doing MCN. I just happened to be a Capricorn and love to work. My own channel and my own goals to the side to help build what is now MCN. And that ended this summer because of differences in ideals, differences in club. Again, this might.
Dang, dropping the mic already.
This is a big mic. This is a big mic drop moment, though.
But where we thought the club should go and how it should be run, and at the end of the day, I was looking at MCN as being a place for people who may not be enthusiasts, but they are enthusiasts. They just don't know it yet. And my goal was to bring them into the fold and give them that enthusiast experience and then hook them in from there. And also be a place where established enthusiasts can come and feel comfortable and feel like they have a home as well. That's just not where I saw the club heading, unfortunately. So it's hard to say goodbye to something that you birthed, and leaving it was hard, but not hard at the same time. It's hard because I know the potential. I knew the potential of where it could go. And I had so many ideas of what we could do, but I was being fought at every turn to do those things. And my goal was always to what would be best for the people, what would be best for the community, not what would be best for myself. And that is where the differences lie.
Thanks for sharing that. Boy, does that ring true for a lot of old Enthusiast Roundtable viewers. And I really do appreciate you saying that, Bri. I think the thing that stuck out most for what you were saying, and I think where we kind of created that little kindred bond when we were talking, when it was all going down, because I was watching your Instagram when it was happening and stuff like that. I think I even reached out to you personally. Yeah. Is when you said you saw so much potential in something, and you kind of felt like it got hijacked or taken from you, and it is really deflating because you had, you planted this little seed and it was starting to grow and you knew that you needed to give it water, but they were not watering it.
I think you hit it right on the head right there because, she planted the seed and it wasn't even the fact that it was hijacked. I felt like it was stagnated because it was like, it's good enough for now. So let's keep it the way it is because it's working out for me. And kind of what Bri said, she's doing it for the community. She wants to have a place where established enthusiasts could, they could feel comfortable. And then maybe they could say, hey, I want to branch out into social media. I want to branch out, do a YouTube and everything, and have the support. Or have people who are just going in, I like roller coasters, and said, hey, there's a lot of coasters out here besides what's in my backyard. And it felt like, well, what was working. And I think so it was just like, we don't need to do that. Let's just focus on what we're doing. And like, if it's broke, don't fix it. And I think so, like, she was creatively stifled and just frustrated. So I definitely get that.
And I was stifled for a long time. Luckily, I was able to convince along the way of what we should and should not do. But it was a fight basically the whole time. And I'm grateful for the experience.
Mm.
I don't think, like I said, I started my YouTube before MCN.
Right.
I don't think that I would have made these connections with people like I have in the course of a year if I hadn't been a part of that experience. So I can't say I don't regret anything. I don't regret a thing, because at the end of the day, there are people who found their tribe. There are people who found their coaster buddies because of that. And I'm just happy to be able to facilitate that in any kind of way. But also for myself, I'm happy that I met so many people
Mm-hmm.
along the way, because I wouldn't have met you in person and made that initial connection if it wasn't for MCN. So I am very grateful for the experience. And I feel like I've had like the best rookie year as an enthusiast.
I agree.
I have so many credits, so many parks that I've visited, so many people that I've met and made connections with because of that. So I'm not talking down on MCN at all. Like, I am proud of all that I did. I am just disappointed in knowing where it could go, and I know I could have gotten it there.
Right. And so, and that's exactly, like I said, like our similarities there, where it's like, I with the show that I created, whose name I don't like to say anymore, but there was a segment there that was called the Enthusiast Roundtable that was part of it. And that was where I really felt my most comfortable. And I loved it because I got to meet people, and that's what got me into the parks. That's how I got on Alan's radar. I'm pretty sure you saw some of those episodes.
Oh, yes.
And, and then when I just started I felt like I was going to give up, but I was like, nah, I'll just still do stuff on Instagram and maybe do some stuff. And I started doing the walking to lose weight at Magic Mountain thing. Alan came out and, he came and walked with me. That's where I met. So it's like that same thing. It's like, things happen, just like you said, Bri, things happen in your life for a reason that kind of steer you in a direction. And it's whether or not you want to open your eyes and see that opportunity. When a door closed, look for that other door. And, I think, when you were sharing your stories on Instagram, I was so proud of what you're going through. And I was like, I really do know what you're talking about so much, but I am so proud of what you've been able to accomplish this past year and everybody you got to meet. And, and look, and here's the thing, and you're coming out on top. I really, and I'm not saying that it's a competition. It's not a competition, but what I mean is you're coming out to be how do I say this? Kind of like the shining star of the whole situation. Like, not only because of your perseverance, but like your attitude, it's like you've got this very positive attitude. You're spunky and like, you're not going to give up, and you're like, no, I'm just going to keep going. And I'm having fun with these coasters, and no one's going to stop me. I'm not going to, the only thing that's going to stop me is that height restriction bar. But other than that,
yeah. I'm happy because again, like I have a YouTube channel,
right?
That I put on pause. I looked at my analytics, and during the time, like I had a vlog that actually is doing very well. Like in a year, it got 75,000 views.
Yeah.
And it's my first time at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. And then after that, I did nothing because I devoted all of my time to MCN. And then you can see me saying, okay, I'm going to give myself some more attention like I planned on doing before I even left MCN, doing what I wanted to do and what I set out to do in this hobby, in this community. And that was be the face, a Black woman on YouTube that rides these coasters. And I didn't see that when I was looking at, Coaster Idiots, Airtime Thrills. I was learning, but I said, I don't see anybody that looks like me. That's okay. I can be that person. Put it out doing kind of, put it on pause for MCN. And now I'm back to doing what I set out to do in the beginning. So it wasn't like I was really losing anything. If anything, I was gaining my time back. Like Auntie Maxine said, reclaiming my time. And I can now put the same effort that I put into someone else's dream. Because really, starting a coaster club was not my dream. Now I can go back to doing what I wanted to do. But I now have the backing of so many people and the support of so many people that I wouldn't have had if I hadn't gone through that experience.
I'm telling you, we're like the same person.
Yeah.
But it's so cool though. You know, it's like, I love that because it's just like, you know, that's exactly where I am. You know, and again, I don't like to make the show about me. I'm sorry to everybody who's watching. Go get something. People who watch this, go get something to drink. But like, you know, I was saying this also pre-show, like, you know, I was so scared because we were up about 3,000 subscribers when I walked away. I walked away from the channel to nothing. I didn't have anything before this, and I never had an Instagram because the Instagram I was never allowed access to it, and it was just it was so sad, and so it made me sad. But then when I started doing this comeback routine with Alan's help, and I had, you know, over 60 people, including, and Bri, you helped me out too, but you know. The reach out, I just reached out and said, hey, would you film something? And 60 people did it. And it was just like so heartwarming. And so it's like, that's what keeps me going. You know, obviously the coasters and things like that, but you know, I really enjoy writing coasters and just hanging out with people and, you know, and enjoying that experience together. I think that's where it's at. What do you think, Alan? Do you enjoy that too?
No, I definitely, I love the community. I would definitely say that coasters is a big part. I guess that's the thing that kind of all brings us together. But then, like I said, we have different reasons for writing coasters and doing what we do.
Yes.
Because I remember like Bri's first channel, I think it was like Two Moms Writing Coasters or something. Like the name was something like that too. So
Crazy Coaster Moms.
There we go. Like, yeah, it was Crazy Coaster Moms. There we go. And then, and it was kind of like before it was showing that, hey, you could be a parent and still go ahead and ride coasters. And then, and that's kind of, and I remember because I remember liking her channel before that too, before she went to Zero Bri Roll and before MCN and everything. But then that kind of started like a friendship relationship. And now we talk about our kids riding coasters. And now my kid's older than her kid. So I'm telling her things that she's able to look forward to when her kid gets older. And it's like, hey, and then the one time, like she went to Dollywood and I sent a video. I'm like, tell him, like, he rode Big Bear Mountain. I'm like, tell him good job. Like
told him.
Yeah.
I told my son, because my son is scared of rides. He's not like me. And we kind of do a trade-off. Like, if you ride this little coaster, then I will ride a ride that you want to do that I don't like, which is like those flying, I don't know what they're called. But
the flying scooters, or is that what they're called?
You can snap them. Yeah.
Like, we can move the thing, you're sitting there and it can go like up.
The rotor, kind of like the
like the ones at Knott's Berry Farm. Well, Knott's Berry Farm has them too over there.
No, not those. She's talking about the one like the rockets at Disneyland.
No. I think she's talking about the one that you can control as you go. You control the big wing. There's like a wing in front, right? Like a big wing.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, like the one at Knott's Berry Farm. Yeah.
He loves those.
The flying scooters.
Okay,
flying scooters, right?
Yeah.
I will ride your ride if you get on this coaster with me. So I got him on Big Bear Mountain. And they stapled my baby. He said his stomach hurt because it was too tight. But that I was able to tell my son, I said, you know that there are people out there that are proud of you for doing this? And he said, people are proud of me? And I said, yes. I said, I tell my friends about you and, you know, you riding coasters. And that kind of like turned his attitude a bit like, okay. And again, my son is, at the time, he was 5.5. He's young. I'm not expecting him to do too much. But just knowing that there were other people out there that were rooting for him that he didn't even know. Yeah. There are people happy for me and proud of me for doing this thing.
Hey, if he's watching right now, I'm proud of you, buddy. This is me, the ambassador, talking. Yes, the ambassador. YouTube, not famous. But hey, I'm proud, dude. I do watch your Instagram, and I am proud of him for doing what he's doing. And you know, the ride that my trade off with my kid, he still doesn't want to ride everything. He'll ride some things, but some things he won't ride, which is funny. Like he had no problem riding Twisted Colossus, but he won't ride Wonder Woman. This is weird. But it's the Scrambler. It's not the flying scooter. It's the Scrambler, and I hate the Scrambler.
Really?
Well, listen, I loved the Scrambler when I was a kid, but again, for those longtime viewers of the show, they know I'm starting to develop as I get older. I'm starting to develop a vertigo pretty like legitimately, and like I can't ride very many coasters anymore. Another reason why I like the show, because it's like I want to surround my people around people who can ride, and I can just live vicariously through y'all. But so I'll ride the Scrambler. Like, okay, we ride Super. He still won't ride Superman the Escape. He still won't ride it.
Yeah.
No, I don't get it, man. Though he rode what's it called? Mindbender at Six Flags over Texas. No problem.
Well, it's like a revolution, but back to kind of what I was saying. That's what I like about this community,
right?
Because then we're able to form these other connections too, and to me that's just as important as the coasters themselves. And
Absolutely,
that's what I definitely love about it.
Yeah, I'm with you, and it's like Bri was saying before the show started is that she's so excited with everybody that she met, and she's excited to meet even more people, and I think that kind of brings up a cool question. Like, what do you think? The answer might be super simple, but what do you think is a good coaster that you could ride with someone who maybe is just getting started in the community, roller coaster community? A coaster that's like not necessarily a family coaster, but like one that you think would convert, make someone an enthusiast. Let's start with you, Bri.
I'll talk home park, and then I'll talk not home park.
Okay.
Home park, I'll give you either the Wild One. Give you Classic Woody. It's over 100 years old. It's a classic. I'll give you that. Like, if you can take that, then you can level up. Or Firebird, because it is a B&M floorless. I call it a B&M forceless. It's not great. But that one is easy. You can do that, no problem. If you're scared of that, then there's no hope for you. I'm sorry. But outside of that, I honestly would give you a Big Bear Mountain to get you started. It has a launch, so you don't have to worry about the anticipation going up the lift, because that's kind of what got me back in the day. I was like, oh my God, that I didn't ride I-305 for like 12 years. Because I was there the first year that it opened, but I didn't ride it because I was scared to go up that high. And then I would give you a Big Bear Mountain where you have a launch where you don't have to worry about that anticipation.
Excellent choices. Alan, how say you?
I'll say home park. Actually, in Southern California, Ghost Rider. It's just a staple. It's something that it's a wooden coaster, so people, they think of it up a certain way. It's really, really thrilling. It's really one of the best rides out there, but one of the best rides in California. I think I have it ranked like number 3 in California. So Ghost Riders, that's that great ride. Or I would even dare to say, for someone who, like the first big coaster to show that they could do anything, I would say Goliath. It's
at Magic Mountain.
Yeah, that one, the one at Six Flags. No, no, Goliath at Magic Mountain. It's tall, it's fast, it's smooth, it's forceful. And I know anyone who gets off of that, they feel accomplished. And after they feel accomplished, they feel like they could do anything. So that's the one thing. Because I think that was my son's first, his first hyper. But I think after he rode Goliath, he felt like he could do anything. A ride is in general that a good starter coaster. I'd probably say Hagrid's over at Islands of Adventure. So Hagrid's Magical Creature Motorbike Adventure, because that pulls in people who would not ride coasters at all. Yep. And it has a little bit of everything. And I have my friends who they swear up and down they're not going to ride a roller coaster. I was talking about it today. And like, oh, there's a Harry Potter roller coaster, because they saw my picture. So like, I'll ride that one. And I'm like, but after that, they'll ride it. And then they say, oh, it's not so bad. And they can get on other rides too.
You're like, there's 3 Harry Potter coasters actually.
No, but yeah, that's how they are. Because I have friends, and like I said, they won't ride, like they'll go to Universal Orlando and they won't ride anything else because they're afraid of all the rides. But they'll get on every Harry Potter coaster. And then from there, I was like, hey, you rode this. And then I told him, like, hey, the Velocicoaster is made by the same company that they did this. Yeah,
that made Gringotts.
Yeah. Well, but then they slowly got on that way too.
And you're like, yeah, I got $20. You want to ride Viper? That's called a callback. No, those are both great. Yes. Those are both really. I feel like I'm going to steal both of all those answers, because it's like, I'm going back in my own head, and I'm like, yeah, like Goliath is such a good answer at Magic Mountain, because it has one of those rides where it looks intimidating. Mm-hmm. It really does. It's tall, and it's like, oh my gosh, and the sign, the sign is so big, it's iconic.
That's my favorite interest.
Yeah, and it's like, but then when you ride it, really the scariest part of Goliath. And Bri, you're gonna have to let me know, because did you ride that when you were out there?
I did not.
Oh, was it closed?
It was closed when I went.
Yeah, they were putting in the new control.
That and Superman were closed.
Well, then just plug your ears at this part. But but no, it just the scariest part of that ride is the lift hill.
Yes.
The anticipation of the lift hill. It's not too fast. Mm-hmm. It's pretty. I mean, it's not crazy steep, but it's steep enough.
I think once you get over 200 feet, a lot of people, they don't see how steep it is. They just see it's that far up. So
yeah. And then once you crest and then you kind of go down, but the thing is the drop is not very steep. It's just very fast. Mm-hmm. And you go into that tunnel, and then once you come up out of that tunnel, you're like, oh my gosh, like this is so much fun.
Yes.
And then the second scary part is not realizing that the helix is more forceful than you actually think it is. And you start going, oh, holy crap.
But remember when it first opened, though?
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
Where the mid-course did not stop.
Yeah. Yeah. Now it's a dive coaster.
Yeah. Yeah, let me tell you, like, I remember those first, because it's like, and it's so funny because you bring that up again. And it's like, I was dating a girl back when Goliath first opened, and I wasn't living in California, but I would fly out here once a year for my birthday, which was in a Capricorn month, another thing that Bri and I have in common. But I would come out here because it was open, and it was fun to come out. And so I brought this girl that I was dating at the time, and she was afraid of roller coasters, and again got her to do Goliath, and she couldn't believe it. And she was crying the whole time, and and this is going somewhere. I promise. We ended up getting a pet rat together. I know, super romantic, right? A pet rat. Ooh. Well, rats are cool. Actually, pet rats are really sweet. They're really nice. They're just hey, no, listen, this is not spoiler word. This is not what's his butt? Oh shoot, my Harry Potter trivia. This is not the guy that was Wormtail. This is not Wormtail. But see, I am a nerd. But no, we got this pet rat, and she didn't ever think she'd ever own a pet rat. And so she named the pet rat Goliath because she never thought she'd ride a roller coaster. So she named it Goliath. So Goliath was a champion. She was a sweet rat. But I know, right? But I think that's a really good idea. And I'm excited to ride Big Bear Mountain, because when I was at Dollywood was 2 4th of Julys ago. So it was just under construction. Yeah, God, I wish I could ride it. And going back to my son, like my son did not, he loved Mystery Mine. He loved it.
Really?
Yes, but he did not ride Lightning Rod. He was scared of Lightning Rod because of the drop. I said, you just rode Mystery Mine that has a beyond vertical drop.
I think it's seeing it, because I remember with my son, because because if you see it, it's
that's true.
Because my trick with him was the first time I got him on big rides. We went to Knott's Ferry Farm, and I remember we went at night, because I got off of work, and it was the first time at Knott's I got the fast lane, and we got the fast lane, and the reason why I got it is so we could walk right in line and ride everything.
Right. He doesn't have time to look at anything.
Yeah, so he didn't have time to look at anything. So, and the only thing, because it's Ghost Rider being Ghost Rider, where he had to go and look at everything. Yeah. And that was at first that one got him, and I'd explained to him, I'm like, you've ridden Incredicoaster, same height, same like that. You're fine, and this one doesn't go upside down. And then the only other one that got him was Montezuma's, because that one you have to go up the exit.
It's a launch. Yeah. It's got the loop.
No, but he was able to. We had to stay there. We had to look at it for a couple of cycles, and then since we rode it at night too, at night they turn off the lights.
Oh.
So when you see you go through, so that kind of got him. But then everything else we walked right on, and so it was sit down, and like that's the thing. I love the ride operator at Accelerator, because we did Montezuma's, then we went on Accelerator, and we just got on, so we had no time to go and look at anything. We sat down, and he asked a question. He's like, "Oh, is this faster than Montezuma's Revenge?" And the lady, she's pretty much stapled him and said "very," and walked off. Oh. Yeah, pretty much. So that was my tidbits, because my son, he was really afraid of roller coasters. And I will say he was afraid of. I remember I took him on the West Coaster at Santa Monica.
Oh, and he was scared of that.
Yeah, the first time he rode it, he was afraid of that too. So
Wow.
it took him a bit, and then we did West Coaster, waited a little bit, then did everything at Disneyland, and then did everything at did everything at Knott's, and then so by the time and there were still things he was afraid of, but I know after Goliath, he's like, I could ride anything. And then and then it was ride everything except X2, and then when he finally got X2, then he was really like, okay, I could do it all. And now, like, I can't get him off of anything. But that was the one thing for him. It was looking at the rides.
That's an excellent point. You know, again, Bri, pay attention. This is what you do with your little kiddo. Yeah. So like my kid, he doesn't want to ride Wonder Woman or Superman the Escape, but we were at Michigan's Adventure just this past 4th of July. And Shivering Timbers is massive. Shivering Timbers is a big.
I love that ride.
It is beautiful. It's a beautiful ride. And it is lovely, and it is awesome. And flash back a little bit. Back in 2021, I was doing a job where I was working out in Michigan, and I was going all over different places, but it was in the pandemic, so it wasn't open. And I drove past Michigan's Adventure at like 2 a.m. and went to the parking lot and just like looked at it and like tried to shine my like headlights on it just so I could look at it and stuff like that. And it was like, oh, one day I'll ride this thing. And so finally got to ride it. And it's that very same thing. Cause like in the lift, in the queue, you cannot see how tall it is. Not really.
Yes. And then depending on how you come in the park, you don't see it going everywhere too. So you can totally miss it. Yeah.
And tangent, but it's probably my candidate for the best looking entrance coaster when you're coming into a park for any coaster ever. I mean, maybe Velocicoaster, but I mean, it's beautiful.
No, I could no, because Velocicoaster, how it is, I think Michigan's Adventure, because you're driving right up next to it. I think Shivering Timbers beats it.
Yeah. So we go walking up, we go in the line, and it was like completely dead, completely walk on, like not even stationary, like they were waiting for us. And we get in, we ride front row because our front row is the way to go. And we go, and then as we're going up the lift hill, I said, "Oh yeah, buddy, I forgot to tell you it's pretty steep." And he's like, "What?" But we came off it. It was his new number one, and he rode it twice. Yeah. So it's just so funny. That's why I'm like, get on Wonder Woman. You'll come off it and you'll have a good time, because it's not Wonder Woman isn't scary. It's one of those rides that looks like Goliath. It looks scary, but it's not. It's very graceful.
Yes.
What ride, Bri, real quick? What ride? Outside of the ones, I guess you can agree with them too. What ride do you think is a ride that looks scarier than it actually is, in your opinion?
Lord, let me go through my Rolodex of all
the last one we rode together.
I've been on.
Oh, what was that, Alan?
This is the last one we rode together. Was it Gate Sleeper?
Oh yeah, Gatekeeper.
Gatekeeper. Okay, so what ride looks intimidating but is not? That's a good candidate. Gatekeeper is a good candidate.
The wing over drop is legit. I think the wing over drop is legit. But then after that, you're like, oh.
Well, the wing over drop, it depends on what side you're on too. Because if you're on the one side, you're just going, oh.
Excellent point. You have to be on that side where it's like you get the big flip. But that's about it. But was there anything else, Bri? Or
I can't think. That's a very good one.
Val Raven.
Pick on Cedar Point Day.
Yeah, let's pick on B&M Day.
I ain't gonna do that. I'll go with Gatekeeper, since I can't think of anything else right now. It's like looks intimidating. Anything else I'm thinking of, it looks intimidating because it is, and I can't blame somebody for being intimidated by it.
Yeah.
But Gatekeeper, because it's at the front entrance and you're scanning in your ticket, your pass, and you're looking at this thing just go over you, and I can see you being like, "Oh my God." But once you get on it, it's like, oh, this isn't bad at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful ride. It's absolutely gorgeous to look at. And it's graceful and smooth, but it's like, oh, all right. Yeah. Oh. Alan.
Like, okay, this is it.
Yeah. I have the same experience.
I think to not pick on Cedar Point or B&M, I will probably say the Morgan Hypers and the Cedar Fair chain. Especially Wild Thing. Just because of how they do it over at Michigan's Adventure, over at Valley Fair. So I think just because of how it is, and the Morgan Hypers, they kind of have the Goliath drop, so the Giovanella drop and everything too. Yeah. And then they have like the return run that's when it's trimmed. And I know they said that they fix it on Mamba. I haven't ridden Mamba after that too, but so it goes from intense just to very, very graceful. kind of like Gatekeeper and everything too, and kind of like Goliath, where after the first drop, and those go even slower than Goliath, so you're not getting as much speed. And the trains on the Morgan Hypers, they don't, they're the big boxy ones, so you're not as exposed as well too, and you're going slower. So I do think those look scarier than what they are.
Yeah,
but they're all beautiful though.
Yeah, they are beautiful, right? You know, and we're gonna flip it too. I'm gonna say that for me, a ride that doesn't look that intimidating, but is actually very kind of crazy, is a Morgan Hyper. Steel Eel.
Oh yeah, Steel
Eel.
I love Steel Eel.
What a great ride! I mean, what a surprise.
That was when I rode that one for the first time. I was like, "What is this?" And I think that probably because I rode that before I rode the other Morgan Hypers, so I think that kind of also helped. I'm like, but they're the same thing. But no, I love Steel Eel.
It was like halfway through the first drop, is like the designer was like, "Oh wait, we need to make this just a little bit steeper."
Like you're always, because I think like people they praise Diamondback for never sitting in your seat, and Steel Eel does it better than Diamondback.
Yeah. Have you ridden that one, Steel Eel, Bri?
I have not yet, but I will be
This
riding
summer?
it next year.
Good.
When I go to the Blusiasts meetup, we will be going to SeaWorld, and I will be riding Steel Eel.
Oh, it's so fun. Let me tell you, I don't call it airtime. I call it slam time.
Yes.
Because it's like, you're going down the hill, and like I said, it kind of goes in a little bit, and then it levels out. So you're just like, bam.
Yeah.
I mean, Shivering Timbers kind of had sort of a similar effect.
Yeah, but with Steel Eel, because I feel how it is, because I remember Sebastian, when we first rode that, he did not like it because he called it butt slam and it hurt. But I feel like it starts going up and you slam, and then you have the seat again, and then you're out of your seat the whole time.
Slam time.
But yeah, I think he liked it better now. When we went back and rode it, he liked it better. The first time he was like, no more, like it hurts too much.
Okay, so then what's another coaster that you think where you have different expectations when you rode it? You rode it not thinking it was gonna be crazy, but then it ended up being crazy.
I will probably say, I think coasters that surprised me. I guess there's probably other ones, but the ones that I guess more recently, not even recent, Outlaw Run.
Oh yeah, I've heard good things about that.
Yeah, because I think it's every manufacturer. Once you ride a bunch of rides with them, you kind of get that that manufacturer fatigue, and you're like, oh, I know what's coming up and everything too. And more so than anything, Outlaw Run really surprised me on that one too, because it was relentless, and there's a lot of the ride you can't really see. But I'm like, oh, I've been on 8 different RMCs, I know what to expect and everything too. And then you just ride an Outlaw Run, and you're like, holy crap.
Nice. Bri, what about you?
My threshold for coaster, like I love intense coasters, so it's very hard for me to say this is one that like shocked me, because I'm looking for that intensity. But I can say that there's a coaster that I went into, like, I think it's going to be good, but I don't think it's going to be great, and I don't know if I'm going to really like it that much, and I ended up loving it, and that's Big Mildred. I gotta talk about
it. Let's talk about it.
Big Mildred was my third Giga that I rode, and so my first one was I-305, so that's her son. If Maverick and Millie had a baby, that is I-305. So that was my first Giga. Second was Orion. Hold your thoughts on that. It is a Giga.
I'm with you.
I'm with you on that. You know me.
We're the pro Orion club. I think Orion gets crapped on too much.
Yes.
It's because of his lift hill height. Like, okay, Apollo Chariot doesn't have a 200 foot plus lift hill height, but we still call it high. But whatever. Anyway, whatever.
Magnum doesn't even drop 200 feet.
But Millie surprised me because I didn't realize like how much I would really like that ride after I got off of it, because it's not super intense. It's just fast, and it has some moments of air, but overall it's just a really good, solid ride. And I don't know. I have this philosophy, like there's certain coasters that you like bond with. Like after your first ride, you kind of like bond with that coaster. And Big Mildred was one of them that after the first ride, I just was like, oh, we are connected now. Like, I don't care what anyone has to say about you. I'm gonna ride for you. And that was Big Mildred, Velocicoaster, Skyra, Intamin. I bond with Intamin coasters.
See, and over here, I'm like the Intamin hater.
I know you are.
Well,
I'm the B&M hater.
Yeah. Well, I think the people, they call me an Intamin hater just because I'm not overly in love with them. But but I think being in the West Coast and then being a little older too, we experience more of the Intamin clones and then the not so great stuff as well too. Because even like the first two hypers, the Ride of Steel, something like that, I don't think they're particularly interesting either. So, but that's because we've ridden newer stuff as well too, on that one being on the West Coast. So, but I do understand when people are growing up with that, they're like, oh yeah, like this is great, and I'm like, oh, and that's the thing, I love Incredicoaster, California Streaming, and I think that's some of Intamin's finest work. And people look at me on that one, I'm like
yeah, people look at him like I'm looking at him right now, like,
yeah.
All right.
Again, that is the ride that turned me into an enthusiast so many years later. You know, and again, intimate. So I don't know.
No, it's all good. I'm an Intamin hater too, because there are some rides by Intamin that I don't like at all. But that's kind of the reason why I like Intamin, overall, was because they're willing to take risks.
Yeah, and I think, and that's what I mean, because I say Intamin hater in jest. I look at their whole catalog, and I do feel that half their catalog gets ignored.
Yeah.
And then when they get mad, like people get mad at B&M and other manufacturers, I'm like, well, did you look like Intamin did this and this and this too? And they're like, well, we don't talk about that. And I'm like, you kind of have to. but I do love like their record-breaking rides and everything too. And some of my favorite rides are Intamins, like like Millennium. You got Hagrid's, because I said I love Hagrid's because they do. And back to what she was saying, rides that have an experience too. And with Millennium Force, it's funny, there's a ride with not that much theming is still an experience. And that's something that I do believe, like Intamin's one of the few manufacturers that can achieve that with a ride design, rather than looking for other stuff on there too. And I think because I love Millennium Force too.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason why, because it is an experience.
It really is. And Big Mildred, that's my girl. That is my
girl. And you notice me being very quiet. That's all good. I gotta ride it again. I only rode it one time.
You need to go right in the front row. So you need to go right in the front row. And then I
need to ride it again.
Yeah, and then the back row too.
I just need to ride it again.
Bro, I've only done front and then like 4 and 5.
Yeah, no, because I think because they said like row. What were we told? Like row 5. Like row 5 or 6, that's like the best row on Millennium Force.
Yeah,
and it was, because that was our last ride, right? Because we rode it that night, and I think it was like row 5 and 6, and it was just like like everything hits differently on that.
Well, I have to try it.
Element hits so good. The airtime is amazing.
There's airtime on that ride.
Yeah, what you mean?
There is more airtime than Goliath. I will say that.
I don't know.
Oh,
I know. Listen, I'm being a hater.
Again, because I heard that critique from other people. So I went into it expecting it to just be fast. And did get those moments of airtime. It was so satisfying. Like, it may not give you a lot of airtime, but the airtime that it gives you is just satisfying, at least for me.
Yeah. So like my one time riding it, I don't remember which row I was in, but it wasn't
the wrong row.
It wasn't in the morning or anything like that. I just remember loving that, because it's one of those things. It's like being from the West Coast, and I've been on Desperado, had been on Goliath, and then here's Millennium Force, right? And so I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Going up the lift hill, I'm like, oh, I can't. Here I am on this iconic lift hill. Oh, this is so amazing. Look at the Lake Erie. Going over the first time, I'm like, oh, this is so great. And then coming up to that first airtime hill, and nothing happened. I was like, oh, okay. Maybe the second airtime. What's going on? And then the turnaround happened, and I was like, what's going on? And I came off that ride, and I was really sad. And actually, Taylor Bybee was there that same day, and I went and found him. We weren't hanging out, just he was there. Yeah. And I said, yeah, I just did Millennium Force. And he's like, how was it? I'm like, and he goes, oh, Millennium Force list. I'm like, yeah.
See, I don't
listen, but I will fully admit that it could have been time of day, seats, whatever. But
But I think also because you had expectations as well too.
That's a good point.
And I will say for me, I will never love Skyrush like other people do. No, just because it was expectations. Everybody's like, oh, it's so crazy, it's so this, and then I've written at the time, I've written both prototype rafters too.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting they're like it flings you around. I'm expecting Alan Schilke single rail like that too. And I know the first time I did write it, it was slow because I wrote in the morning first because I wrote in the morning. It was April, we wrote it first thing in the morning, and I was like, that was it. And then even when it got better, I'm still like, that was it. And I know for like that, so that's why after Skyrush and Iron Rattler, I don't listen to anybody's expectations anymore.
Yeah,
because Iron Rattler, that was another one that did it for me too, and I know with that one it was more circumstance because they were running one train, it was down for half the day. Even with the flash pass, it was still like a 30+ minute wait too, and how the station is. And I wrote Iron Rattler like one time, I'm like the first drop is great, and then everything else was I'm like, all right, because the airtime wasn't there, like the inversion wasn't there too. So I do know expectations really ruin your ride experience.
You're absolutely right. And and Bri, I'm not hating on Big Millie. I know she's your lady.
Yeah, he is.
My girl. That's fine.
He's hating.
No, but I'll give it a second chance. I haven't done Skyrush yet. I'm very excited to see how. I'm curious with that. See if my Goldilocks streak continues. That the restraints won't do anything, or the seats or whatever it is that bugs people won't bother me. But we'll see.
Yeah, the restraints it has the same restraints as Drop of Doom.
Oh, nothing wrong with those.
Yeah, I think it's just because the way it comes down, it depends on how quickly they dispatch. I think because if you get stuck on the brake run and then when it goes in and it digs in the way, since because you know how those lap bars, they're not contoured at all.
Yeah.
So if they dig in, then people get mad about that. But it doesn't affect you during the ride. It affects you if you're sitting on the brake run.
You feel that it got a little bit tighter on you.
Yeah.
But if they are, like Alan said, if they are dispatching quickly, then that's not going to be discomfort that you feel for a long time. But I can see if you're sitting there and let's say that they already made it tight and then it got tighter, I can understand people's critiques of the lap bars.
Like Wicked at Lagoon.
Yeah.
Where you're riding and it gets tight, so it's uncomfortable. But if they're dispatching everything fast, you can live with it. But if you're stuck there because of whatever reason, then you're like, why am I still doing this? And I know it's a different type of thing because I know Wicked because it comes down and then moves your legs up. And that's what Skyrush, since your legs aren't on anything too. That's why it's tight. And I know with Wicked, the ankle, like especially if you have long legs, I guess the ankle, I don't know what to call them, restraint that pushes you that pushes your legs up, so then it comes down and makes it tighter. So, and I think so it gets tighter than a ride normally does.
Right. I'll tell you what, I think having the disagreements kind of what's also what makes the community like fun, because it's like, and I think it's also super important, and chime in if you agree or if you disagree, but I like that we all have our own ride that means something to us. I know Bri, you had hinted at it with, you kind of have that connection, that bond, or that imprint, or whatever you want to call it. But there's also just like rides that we don't like, but the thing is we like to talk about it. And we like to have fun, and it's kind of like sports teams or whatever that where people kind of like trash talking. But I really like that sense of that we can come to a place and talk about it and everything's okay. Like it's like there's no like fighting. There's no like like, and the person who does fight and it's like, no, Goliath is not a hyper. It's like like, okay, we don't need you in the community anyway. No, I shouldn't say that. But I think what I really like, also that what makes you, I guess I shouldn't say the community, I should say an enthusiast. An enthusiast just means you're excited about something. And if that something is Skyrush, or if that something is Millennium Force, then that's valid and it's legit. And just like how, I personally don't coaster count. And not because I don't want to, it's just that I don't want to. Does that make sense?
I get it.
And it's like, so when people say, what's your coaster count? I say, yes, I will write it, And, but just because someone has a big coaster count or someone has a small coaster count doesn't mean that they're less of an enthusiast.
I definitely agree with that too.
And I really, that's one of the things that I love about the enthusiast community part is, definitely that everybody's perspective is just as important as anybody else's, and somebody's likes and dislikes are just as important as the next person. And that's kind of like the whole point of the Enthusiast Roundtable was let's bring everybody on. And like when the first show was like, I had the Coaster Idiots on, I had Airtime Thrills on, and Coaster Studios. But then at the same time on that very same show, I had like at the time like Ethan from Theme Park Wizard.
Yes.
And I think he at the time had maybe 120 subscribers, I think. And people thought I was, one person thought I was crazy.
That one guy.
That one guy whose name we don't name. And I was like, why? It doesn't matter. Everybody has a seat at the table.
Yes.
And everybody's voice is just as important. And so that's why I think that this community is so important to me. And I'm sure important to both of you. It's just that place. And I love what you guys did. I know that, the MCN movement was something that, maybe got paused in name, but in spirit still lives on. And I think it's very valid, and it lives on in different forms. And one of them is the Blusiasts. Alan, you want to talk about that real quick?
Oh, so the Blusiasts, it was actually with Airtime Mike, because this community also connected me to him, and we were just chatting, and I know he was talking to a lot of people like Gooch and Dewey. I know Bri came on later, so I can't mention everybody, so please don't get mad at me that you weren't mentioned.
Get in the comments.
No, but he was just talking he was talking about it, and he's like, hey, let's just have an idea where we go meet at a park, and nothing formal, nothing special, just us getting together, just celebrating what brings us together. Because kind of like what Bri said earlier, and I know with her, and how I took it originally was that, parents were able to ride roller coasters, and then she kind of went to MCN. That's what Mike thought about too. And then because he's like, we go to parks, and especially depending on where you're at, you don't really see a lot of enthusiasts of color, whether it's, Black, Hispanic, like anything, just depending on the park. And Mike, he kind of didn't know how many just Black enthusiasts that there were.
Yeah.
So he was just reaching out and say, hey, do you want to go? And it was kind of like a word of mouth campaign. And the first one we met over at it was Busch Gardens Williamsburg and King's Dominion. And it kind of just spread from there. So last year we went to Six Flags over Georgia and Carowinds, and this year we're going over to Six Flags Fiesta Texas, and they are going to SeaWorld San Antonio because I'm not going there. But it was just for us to come together and talk, and it's kind of like not only just talking about coasters, but we talk about a bunch of other things. We have a group chat. Now there's a Facebook group on there now. I've kind of been detached from social media because I work for a little bit, but we go and we talk about everything, whether it's just because coasters that's what brought us together. But now we talk about other things to help support each other, and just kind of like what Bri's original mission was, to highlight enthusiasts of color, and then have people and then help each other out, and not just and we don't just focus on people of color too. We want to help everybody else out in the community.
Right.
And so like we're really not argumentative when people ask why. Like and Bri will tell you, because Bri will do it too, Mike will do it. If someone what they want to talk to me about why we're doing this, I will sit down and talk to them about it, and not argumentative, and just explain why we're doing this. And like I would say, well, right now I have 100% success rate, and it's not, and that's probably like a bad term, but getting them to understand why, and they see it. So it's something that they weren't originally comfortable with, then it dawns on, and they get it, and they're like, oh, hey, can I support? What can I do? Can I come and ride with you guys and everything too?
Right.
And I think that's what kind of what makes this community special.
Right.
And I kind of and we could go back and forth about how stuff started, and how there's like a divide, and we could say it starts with economics and everything too. But all in all, we're all enthusiasts. We want to help each other out. And like I said, I'm blessed that I met you, and you want to come out and help out and do things and participate and just hang out with us and be friends. And that's really what it is. It's it's just
because we're enthusiasts first. I mean,
yes.
And obviously I think that having the subgroups is absolutely fine, and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's not like nobody's shutting anybody out.
No, exactly. Because Bri will tell you, like we went over there. We were over at Hollywood Nights, and we integrated with everyone too. And then so they're at the MCN event, and I know because there's all these different groups, and there's Blusiasts like in Ace, there's in Coaster Crew, I know I'm forgetting one. He's gonna kill me because I can't even think of it right now. There we go. See, that's the one I was missing. And they all come together and help out too. So and so like we're not saying that and that's the thing, we're not trying to take people away from other communities. We're just saying that we're representing that, hey, we're here. This is a part that's important to us too. And it's kind of like, I guess the main thing I will say, because now I'm on this horrible tangent, is that if we're able to show that other people who might not think that coasters are for them, or they can even do that, just because of the color of their skin, we're saying, hey, that you could do that too and ingratiate it into the larger community. That's what the Blusiasts are here for. And it's showing people that, hey, you're able to join us and then effectively join the community, meet new people, have new friends, get you to where you're going, whether, and then like social media is a powerful thing now too, because you hop on social media and say, if you want to go and network for other things to help you, if you want to be a photographer, videographer, even a writer.
Yeah.
And we can give you the tools to show it that way, because we're all here helping each other out.
Right. And so and I love that movement, because it's like, again, it's like, any way that you can open the door to anybody who may not be an enthusiast yet, I mean, so be it. You know what I mean? As long as it's legal.
Yeah.
But where can people? Let's have you shout out where you can find Blusiasts on social media, and then I want you to talk about your own personal one as well.
All right. So Blusiasts on social media, it's the Blusiasts. They're on Twitter/X. They're on TikTok, they're on Facebook as a group, and they are on Instagram as well too. So you could go follow them, you could go tag them if you see anything. It's really a good way just to go and interact and find out what's going on. You can also get Airtime Mike, myself at Almighty Coasters, at Bri Roll. Those are kind of people, if you tag us to reach out to us, we will get you connected to where you need to go. Just because we know, like, I'm primarily West Coast. Bri and Mike, they're primarily East Coast. We do have people in Central too. So just to find out, who's near you as well too, because like I said, we know that we're everywhere, and sometimes it's people saying, hey, I'm going to be in this area. Let me meet up with you and show me around the park and find out different things as well too, because we all want to impart knowledge on everywhere we go.
Right. And thank you for that, Alan. I appreciate that. And I'm going to put all the links to every single one of those below in the comments, in the description, and all that fun stuff. And again, long time coming. Thank you so much for coming out here. I know it's a little bit of a drive. You ran into some LA traffic, but
that's the funny thing. LA traffic correction. So we only live about 25 miles away from each other.
Yeah.
So it's not that far at all.
Yeah.
But then when something bad happens, and it's like, because I think an hour, I said, hey, I'm on my way. And then an hour later, like, where are you? Like,
it's all good. People in LA, we don't measure distance. we measure time. But again, a long time coming, because I appreciate you helping me out big time with the little fun. It's on my channel. You can see it's the video that plays when you first come to my channel. Alan filmed all that, where the rocks and being all crazy and silly. That was all Alan. So much appreciated for coming on.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. And Bri, let's go over to you. I want you to talk about your social medias, because I know you mentioned your YouTube channel and anything else that you're doing that might be fun coming up.
Yeah. So personally, Bri Roll. Bri is BRI. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram. I also have another page that I'm developing called Women Love Coasters. And that's just for the women in the coaster community to feel like, okay, let me network and see what other women are out there. And I'm actually planning an event next year. It's kind of a big deal, because it's more than one part.
I can't see it.
Going to the main event is Canada's Wonderland, but we're also going to go to Six Flags Darien Lake. We're going to go to Marineland, and we're going to go to that other little park. If it's open, that Gene somebody. Oh, thank you, Gene Staples.
Gene Simmons. Wow, the Kiss coaster.
Hey, that was Hard Rock Park.
There you go.
You guys are going to Korea now.
Yeah.
No, that could be a theme. But no, I'm trying to work that out. That's going to be August 1st through the 4th of next year of 2024. You can follow Women Love Coasters on Instagram. It's literally at Women Love Coasters. Or you can join the Facebook group. It's a public group that's for men and women. But because I don't want to just say, just for the women, like anyone, because you never know. Alan may join the group and say, hey, they're having an event. Let me take my mom to it. So I don't want to, make it private so other people don't know what we're doing. But I'm starting that up. And just because I'm a Capricorn and I always need something to do. But yeah, you can follow my YouTube. It's mostly POVs. I vlog. I don't call myself a YouTuber, but
she's a YouTuber. You were recognized at Cedar Point. So and then she's like, "Are you?" So that's a story. So and I think this kind of goes into Woman Loves Coasters. So I want to hijack the story from you really fast because I know you're trying to wrap up. We're at Cedar Point at on National Coaster Day, and she's vlogging, and some little girl reaches out to her. It's like, "Oh, are you a YouTuber and everything?" Took a picture with her and everything. Was really, really excited too.
Yeah.
And then when Bri actually posted her vlog, the young lady went and commented on the vlog as well too. So
see, there you go.
She is a YouTuber, and she was really excited. I never met a YouTuber before, and and now she's starting on her path and that's what Bri's showing, that anybody could do anything.
That's right.
Single mom. I am out here doing it on my own with the support of my family, but I also have a passion, and I am not going to let anything get in the way of me exploring that passion to the fullest extent.
Yeah. And that little girl is going to be the president of the United States one day.
I hope so. And then we can ride coasters together. She can get me in front of everybody
else. Cool. And so the name of that channel is what?
It'll be in the description below. So look below and follow me, and subscribe and like and comment and all those things.
Oh yeah, I forgot to do that for myself too.
Yeah.
So pretty much you could get me at Almighty Coasters on and that's also Almighty Coasters on TikTok and Instagram, Almighty Coasters on YouTube, and Almighty Coaster on Twitter.
Nice. Hey, and listen, to both of you, I'm super, super grateful. Like, this means a lot to me because, having met both of you because of I don't want to call it trauma. I'm not a drama king, but it's because of the unfortunate circumstances that had happened. I got to meet both of you, and that's a big, big deal for me. And you've been very supportive, and I appreciate you, Alan. For those who don't know, he did walk with me probably more than anybody who walked with me when I did my 40-day walk at Magic Mountain. So I really appreciate you coming out. And Bri, it was such a pleasure to meet you at the event. The other 3-letter channel, which we will not recognize, but you were very, very welcoming with open arms, and being a clearly white as a ghost guy come walking up to y'all, but you were very, very open armed and super sweet. And I was like, I got to get you on the show. You're very, very nice. And I think we wrote X2 together, right? I think, was it X2 that we wrote?
That's right.
That's right. It's only right you wrote that weekend
over at night. And we walked to the parking lot together.
That's right.
And Airtime Mike, shout out to him, he made sure that I met you.
Yeah.
And that is what I feel like this community is about. He really made sure that you had your endeavors that you were going to pursue after things happened.
Sure.
And me having the beginning of MCN, just putting people together, and just and again, like we spoke in the pre-show, I would say my major is public relations. I graduated with a major in public relations, so I firmly believe in like genuine relationships, and you never know where it can go. And like I said earlier, from February to now October, here we are now on the podcast, and everything is filling in how it was meant to be.
Absolutely. And that's what it's all about. The ERT not only stands for exclusive ride time, not only does it stand for the Enthusiast Round Table, but it stands for everybody ride together. Let's go.